Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something real. You ever notice how some of the strongest, most unforgettable women in your life, the ones that make a man stop in his tracks, think, and even lose sleep over, aren't the ones who are constantly talking, texting, or chasing? Oh, no, no, no. The truth is, when you're on his mind without talking, you are creating something powerful, something magnetic, something that makes him chase you without even realizing it. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. There is a power in silence, a power that most people completely overlook. Now, I know some of y'all are thinking, Steve, what do you mean silence? Ain't we supposed to be communicating all the time? No, no, no. That's exactly the trap most women fall into. They think that in order to stay on a man's mind, they have to be talking all the time, texting back immediately, liking every post, sharing every thought, responding to every joke. But let me tell you something. The real magic happens when you pull back and let silence do the talking for you. You see, silence creates curiosity. And curiosity, ladies and gentlemen, is one of the strongest forces in the universe when it comes to attraction. Men are hunters by nature. We notice what we can't immediately have. We chase what we are not sure about. And the moment you stop giving him all the answers, the moment you stop over-communicating, he starts to wonder. He starts to ask himself questions he hadn't even thought about before. Why hasn't she texted me? What is she doing right now? Who is she talking to? And let me tell you, those questions, those little sparks of curiosity will have him thinking about you more than you ever imagined. Ladies, too often we get caught up in the idea that to be loved or desired, we have to be constantly available. But let me tell you, being constantly available is the fastest way to make a man stop noticing you. You give him access to you without effort. And what happens? He begins to take you for granted. But silence changes all that. Silence forces him to pause, to reflect, to really see what he has when you're not there. And that reflection, that noticing, that wondering, it builds desire. I want you to imagine something for a second. Think about a man who's used to having you around, texting, calling, always sharing your day, your laughter, your every thought. Now, suddenly, you pull back. You stop texting as much. You stop posting everything about your life. You stop being instantly available. He notices immediately. And in that noticing, something powerful happens. He starts to chase the little glimpses of you he used to take for granted. He starts to miss the energy you bring. He starts to crave your attention in a way he never did when it was freely available. That, ladies, is curiosity at work. And let me tell you, curiosity is not just about making him think. It's about making him feel. When you create a pause, a silence, it gives him space to feel your presence in his mind. He remembers your laugh, the way your eyes light, the way your eyes light, the conversations you had that made him feel alive. He feels the absence of you in a way he never felt when you were always there. That emotional pull, that's what makes him come back, not out of obligation, not because you begged, but because he genuinely wants to know what's going on with you. Now, I know some of y'all are thinking, but Steve, what if he thinks I don't care? Listen to me carefully. When you pull back, you are not being cold. You're not playing a game just to manipulate him. No, you are showing him something much deeper. You are showing him that you have your own life, that your happiness does not depend on his attention, that you are a woman with value who deserves to be noticed. That, ladies and gentlemen, is irresistible. Men are drawn to women who have their own fire, their own energy, their own world. And silence is the tool that allows them to see that fire burning, even when you're not standing right in front of him. And let's talk about timing for a moment. Timing is everything when it comes to using silence effectively. You don't want to disappear forever. You don't want to ghost him completely. No, you want to pull back just enough that he starts to notice the void you leave behind. Just enough that he begins to wonder. Just enough that he starts to realize what he's missing. It's a delicate balance, but when done correctly, it will have him thinking about you day and night, analyzing his own feelings and realizing just how much you matter. Ladies, there's also a lesson here about self-respect. When you stop over-communicating, when you stop chasing attention, you are asserting your own worth. You are saying without words, I am valuable. I am not desperate. I am not here just to be available at your convenience. I have a life. I have dreams. I have standards. I have dreams. Standards. And men respect that. They respect women who don't beg for attention. They respect women who have a sense of mystery. They respect women who are a little hard to figure out. And curiosity thrives in that environment. So I want you to remember this. Silence is not emptiness. Silence is power. It's a tool. It's a strategy. It's a way to make him notice you without saying a single word. It's a way to make him think, to feel, to reflect, to miss you in ways he never could if you were constantly there. And the beauty of it is, you don't have to do anything complicated. You don't have to play games or pretend to be someone you're not. You just have to step back, breathe, and allow your absence to speak for you. When you master the art of silence, when you understand that curiosity is stronger than constant chatter, you create a magnetic pull that draws him closer, makes him think about you more, and ultimately makes him appreciate the woman you are. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the first step to having him chase you, not out of fear, not out of obligation, but out of genuine desire. So stop over-explaining, stop over-texting, stop feeling like you have to fill every silence. Embrace it, own it, use it to your advantage. Let your quiet presence linger in his mind. Let him wonder, let him crave, and watch how curiosity, created simply by your silence, becomes one of the most powerful tools in attraction. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something real. There's a lesson most women never fully grasp when it comes to love and attraction, and it's this: men notice your value when you're not always available. Now, I know some of y'all are thinking, Steve, I'm available. I want him to see me. I want him to care. And I hear you, I do. But let me tell you, being constantly available can do more harm than good. You see, when you are always there, always saying yes, when you are always there, always saying yes, always dropping what you're doing to respond, a man can start to take you for granted without even realizing it. Let me break this down for you. Men, by nature, are hunters. We are wired to appreciate effort, to notice what requires a little pursuit. When you're always available, when your attention is handed over freely and instantly, it removes the need for him to notice your worth. And when there's no effort, there's no challenging. And when there's no challenge, ladies' desire starts to fade. But when you step back, when you're not always at his beck and call, suddenly he starts to notice things he never paid attention to before. He starts realizing the little things you do, the way you carry yourself, the energy you bring, the presence you create in his life. Let me give you an example. You're a woman with dreams, goals, a life that doesn't revolve around waiting for him to text. You're out there living, hustling, laughing, shining, and he knows you're not sitting around waiting for him. That fact alone makes him stop and take stock of what he's dealing with. He begins to appreciate you more, not because you're different, not because you're playing games, but because your independence highlights your value. A man notices a woman who doesn't bend over backwards for attention. A man notices a woman who has standards, who respects herself, and who understands her worth. And when he notices that, ladies, his mind starts to shift. He starts thinking, wow, she's amazing. She's not just anybody. She's someone special. I don't want to mess this up. And here's the thing most women don't realize: availability can dilute attraction. If you're always there, always ready, always accessible, it becomes easy for him to forget what makes you special. He gets used to you, takes your presence for granted, and stops valuing the little things. But when you create a little distance, when you're not immediately available every time he calls or texts, he begins to see you in a different light. He begins to see you as someone he wants, someone he has to put in effort to maintain. And suddenly, your value skyrockets in his mind. Now, I know some of y'all might be thinking, but Steve, doesn't that make him feel ignored? No. There's a difference between being unavailable, because you have a life, and being cold or dismissive. You're not ignoring him out of spite. You're not trying to make him jealous or manipulate him. You're simply living your life, honoring your time, and respecting your own worth. And here's the truth. A man will always respect a woman who respects herself first. He will notice her value when she's not constantly bending over backwards, when she's not waiting by the phone, when she's not dropping everything for him, when she's not dropping everything for him. He'll notice, he'll think, and he'll start appreciating the person you truly are. Think about it like this. If you give a man everything all at once, he may not value any of it. But if you give him glimpses of your life, glimpses of your time, glimpses of your energy, he will cherish it more. Every interaction becomes meaningful. Every conversation becomes something he looks forward to. Every moment he spends with you becomes precious, because he realizes your time and attention are not to be taken for granted. And when he feels that, when he starts noticing your value, that's when attraction deepens, desire grows, and connection strengthens. Let me tell you another thing. Independence is magnetic. A man is drawn to a woman who has her own fire, her own passions, her own life. He wants to see that you can thrive without him, because when he sees that, he also knows he can't control you and he can't take you for granted. That's when he can't take you for granted. That's when he begins to notice your value. That's when he begins to respect your presence. Your opinions, your laughter, your energy. That's when he starts realizing that being with you is a privilege, not a given. And that realization, that's power, that's attraction. That's what keeps a man thinking about you, appreciating you, and wanting more of you every single day. So ladies, remember this. Your worth is not measured by how available you are. Your value is not in how quickly you respond or how often you show up. Your value is in who you are, how you carry yourself, and the life you live. When you honor that, when you step back just enough, when you make sure you're not always available, a man will notice. He will notice your independence, your strength, your confidence, and your uniqueness. He will notice that you are someone who cannot be replaced, someone who is worthy of effort, and someone who deserves to be cherished. So stop overgiving. Stop making yourself too available. Stop thinking that being around all the time equals being loved. Step back, live your life, shine your light, and let him see your value from a distance. When he notices, when he finally recognizes what he's been missing, that's when you know you've done it right. That's when he begins to appreciate you on a deeper level. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you make a man realize your worth without ever having to demand it. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to talk to you about something most people completely underestimate when it comes to love, attraction, and relationships. And that is this: absence strengthens emotional connection. Now, I know some of y'all are thinking, Steve, I don't understand. If I'm not talking to him, if I'm giving him space, how can that possibly make him feel closer to me? Listen carefully, because this is a lesson a lot of women never get and a lot of men never even realize they're responding to. When you create a little absence in a relation, onship, when you allow some space for him to breathe, to reflect, to feel, that's when the emotional bond starts to deepen. That's when the emotional bond starts to deepen. You see, in the world of love, too much presence can actually dilute the connection. When you're always there, always texting, always talking, always present in his life, a man can sometimes forget to feel. He can get used to you. He can take your energy, your attention, your love for granted. But when you step back, when you allow a pause, something remarkable happens. Suddenly, he starts to feel your absence. He notices the quiet. He notices the space you leave behind. And in that noticing, emotions begin to grow. He starts to think about you in ways he never did when you were constantly around. Ladies, this is why emotional connection isn't just about communication. It's about feeling. Men need to feel just as much as they need to think. And when you create space, when you step back, you allow him to feel. He starts to reflect on the moments you shared, the laughter, the joy, the way you make him feel alive. That absence makes those memories sharper, more vivid, more meaningful. And the stronger he feels, the more he begins to emotionally connect with you, even when you're not there. That is power. That is attraction. That is influence. Now I want to tell you something important about human nature. People, including men, value what they don't constantly have. If he's used to your presence all the time, he might not realize what he's missing. But once that presence is limited, once he fills the gap, he starts to pay attention. He starts thinking, man, I haven't heard from her today. I wonder how she's doing. I wonder what she's thinking. I wonder why she isn't around. And those thoughts, ladies, are the seeds of emotional connection. He's connecting with you on a level beyond the physical, beyond the immediate. He's connecting with you on a level beyond the physical, beyond the immediate. He's connecting with you, energy, your essence, your presence, and that is far more powerful than any conversation you could have. Think about it like this. If a man has everything handed to him, constant communication, constant attention, constant presence, he may enjoy it in the moment, but the emotional bond may not grow. He doesn't have to work for it. He doesn't have to reflect. He doesn't have to feel deeply. But when you create absence, when you pull back just enough, he begins to notice the gaps. He begins to feel what's missing. He begins to realize how much your presence affects him, how much your energy impacts him, and how much he misses the connection he has with you. That, ladies and gentlemen, is how emotional connection strengthens in your absence. And let me be clear. This isn't about playing games. This isn't about manipulation. This isn't about testing him in some petty way. No, this is about self-respect, wisdom, and understanding human nature. It's about knowing that love and attraction are not built solely on constant contact, but on the feelings you evoke, the space you create for reflection, and the emotional weight of your presence. When a man feels that weight, when he feels the depth of the connection in your absence, he starts to treasure it more than ever. Here's another thing most women don't realize. Absence also allows a man to see your independence. When you step back, he sees that you have a life outside of him. He sees that you are thriving, that you are growing, that you have goals, passions, and energy that don't revolve around him. And when a man sees that, he respects you even more. He notices your value, your uniqueness, and the fact that being with you isn't just convenient, it's a privilege. That respect, that appreciation, that recognition of your worth, it deepens the emotional connection even further. Ladies, let's talk about memories for a second. Memories become more powerful when they aren't constantly reinforced. When a man experiences moments with you, and then there is a little absence, those memories become sharper, sweeter, and more vivid. He remembers your laugh, your smile, the way you challenged him, the way you made him feel alive. Absence is the amplifier of emotional resonance. It makes the experiences you share hit harder, feel deeper, and stay longer in his mind. And that emotional imprint, that's what keeps him thinking about you, missing you and feeling connected even when you're not talking. I want you to understand this clearly. Absence is not emptiness. Absence is presence in disguise. When you are absent, you are still working on yourself, shining your light, living your life, and your energy still resonates in his world. He feels it. He notices it. He remembers it. And over time, that emotional pull becomes irresistible. The connection deepens without you having to force it, without you having to beg for attention, and without you having to constantly prove yourself. So ladies, if you want to strengthen the emotional connection with a man, if you want him to feel closer to you in a way that lasts, you have to learn the art of absence. You have to understand that stepping back, creating space, and letting him feel your presence in your absence is not a weakness. It's a strategy. It's a way to make him realize the impact you have, to make him treasure you, to make him crave the connection that only you can provide. Emotional connection grows in the quiet, in the space between words, in the moments where he has to reflect and feel. It grows when he notices your value, not just when you're there, but when you're not. And when he finally realizes the depth of what he's missing, when he begins to appreciate the woman you are, that connection, emotional, deep, lasting, becomes unshakable. That, look, ladies and gentlemen, is the power of absence. Ladies and gentlemen, let me be real with you today. If you want a man to truly value you, to chase you, to desire you in ways you never imagined, it all comes down to one thing: self-respect and independence. I know some of y'all are thinking, Steve, I respect myself, but how does that make him notice me more? Listen carefully, because self-respect and independence are not just traits, they are magnets. They are signals that tell a man, without you saying a word, that you are a woman of worth, a woman of value, and a woman who cannot be taken for granted. Now let me start with self-respect. Self-respect is not just about saying no when you need to say no. Self-respect is about setting boundaries, understanding your value, and refusing to compromise who you are for anyone. When it's about knowing that your time, your energy, and your heart are precious and not to be wasted on someone who doesn't appreciate you. And when a man sees that, oh, he notices. He notices the way you carry yourself, the way you don't settle for less than you deserve, and the way you don't beg for attention or affection. That respect you have for yourself, that respect draws him in. It creates a sense of admiration that no amount of flattery or charm can replicate. Independence goes hand in hand with self-respect. A woman who is independent has her own life, her own goals, her own passions. She doesn't revolve around the man's schedule or wait anxiously for his attention. She is thriving, growing, and living fully. And when a man sees that, he realizes he can't control her. He can't take her for granted, and he can't replace her. Independence is magnetic because it communicates confidence. It says, I am whole on my own, but I am even better with the right man in my life. That combination of wholeness and openness is irresistible. Let me break this down for you in a way that makes sense. Most women make the mistake of believing that to keep a man, they have to bend over backwards. They have to be always available, always agreeing, always accommodating. And I'm telling you right now, that will get you noticed for a moment, but it will never get you respected. It will never make him chase you. Why? Because he doesn't have to. Your availability signals to him that he doesn't need to invest effort. But when you honor your own time, when you protect your heart, when you show that your attention is earned, suddenly he starts to notice your value. Suddenly he starts to think, wow, she's someone I have to work for, someone I have to appreciate, someone I cannot take for granted. Here's the truth about men. We respect strength. We respect women who are not afraid to stand on their own 2 feet. We respect women who don't lose themselves in a relationship. And we are drawn to women who have fire, who have ambition, who have life outside of us. That's independence. That's self-respect. And when a woman embodies those qualities, she's no longer just a woman in his life. She becomes a prize, a force of nature, someone he wants to protect, cherish, and pursue relentlessly. Now, I know some of y'all are thinking, but Steve, won't he feel distant if I focus on myself? No, ladies. Focusing on yourself is not distance. It's power. It's presence in its purest form. When you are independent, when you are living your life fully, you're not only improving yourself, you are also giving him a chance to see you at your best. You're creating a scenario where he has to step up, where he has to notice the woman you are, the effort you put into your life, and the energy you bring to a relationship. That's how you inspire admiration, respect, and desire, all without begging for it. Self-respect also teaches a man how to treat you, when you know your worth, when you have boundaries, when you refuse to compromise your standards, a man will either rise to meet that standard or step aside. And here's the beauty of it. The right man will rise. He will see your independence, your confidence, and your self-respect. And he will respond by becoming the man you deserve. That is the ultimate form of attraction, being so grounded in your own value that he cannot help but recognize it and respect it. Let's talk about confidence for a moment. Independence and self-respect breed confidence. And confidence, ladies, is one of the most attractive qualities a woman can have. When a woman knows who she is, what she wants, and what she deserves, she doesn't act needy, desperate, or insecure. She walks into a room with energy that commands attention, and men notice. Her life, her goals, her passions, they make him want to be a part of it, not control it. That is the kind of woman who is irresistible without even trying. Ladies, let me leave you with this. Self-respect and independence are not just qualities. They are tools. Tools that allow you to attract the right man, the man who will value you, the man who will chase you, and the man who will never take you for granted. They are shields that protect your heart from those who do not deserve it, and magnets that draw in those who do. When you cultivate these qualities, you are no longer defined by your relationships. You define them. You set the tone, you set the stage for love that is healthy, respectful, and deeply fulfilling. So stop compromising your standards. Stop losing yourself in the pursuit of love. Honor your time, your energy, and your heart. Live fully, shine brightly, and let your independence and self-respect speak for themselves. When a man sees that, he won't just notice you, he will chase you. He will value you. He will respect you. And he'll never forget the power of the woman who knows her worth, stands her ground, and refuses to settle for anything less than she deserves.